Morning, guys. So I'm back on the car here, or the Camaro. I was going to show you this real quick, just an idea I thought of to see if it works or not. But here's a little issue that I always have trouble with, being a rookie, I guess. So you're looking down this body line here in the center, and of course you want to keep that nice and straight, crisp, and the whole deal. So what they tell you to do is take a piece of tape and run it down that body line. Well, sometimes for me, and maybe it's because I'm getting old and I can't see shit, that's not always the easiest thing to do, because that body line's not just, it doesn't just run to a point. It's kind of rounded off. So running that tape, you're like, okay, am I to one side of the square it's rounded, or which, you know what I mean? So you want to get it just straight. Well, the issue for me is, all right, so I'm going to put filler on this because it's so wrinkly in the whole deal. So I'm going to fill this whole thing and block it down flat. So that, you know, I'm going to sand up over top of this and the whole deal, but that doesn't always get that line just straight. So for me, I thought, what if I was to put something on here now where I can see it? And, you know, because you got, or at least I can, I don't know if you can see that, but basically the line is right there, and it goes. So I put me a little mark in silver pen to where it goes and comes under here a little bit. I'm gonna go to the other side, or went to the other side and do the same thing. So now when I pull my tape, I can put it right on that line and come right back to this line exactly in the same spot when I stretch that tape out. Okay, so now say I have to put the filler all over the deal, and this line pretty much goes away because I have filler on it, and I start blocking it down. Well, I get it all blocked down, well, I can come back to this reference point in my mind, so I can put the tape back on there, block up to the tape, go to the other side, block up to the tape, and now say I decide to slick sand this. So now I slick sand the whole thing. Well, now I still have the same issue, as I need to know exactly where that line is. Well, this mark is always going to be there, because I'm not going to slick sand these edges. I'm going to actually tape this off to where I just slick sand the flat part, because I don't want any of the filler stuff on the ends. So I'll always have this reference point to come right back to. Now, this is just an idea that I was sitting here thinking about. Maybe someone else has already, I'm sure someone else has already thought of this, or maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if it'll work. But I thought, you know, if it helps someone else, and hopefully that'll focus in on the line that I'm talking about. I may be too close. I can't see it at all. But anyway, so here, maybe that'll help. Yeah, so Alright, so you can see I wiped this whole deal. You can probably tell that this is dry and these aren't. I pulled this close to here on both sides all the way across, and the problem is I underestimated how much filler I needed, and so I ended up being short. I pulled it really tight and the whole deal trying to get, make it go. Alright, hold on a second. Let's see, so anyway, so I have a question. I was taught, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but any of you guys that know, when you have to wipe twice like this, when you come down and you've got this edge where, like I had here, I had to re-wipe this lower edge, and I actually over-wiped that probably a little bit, but anyway, I was told to go back over and 80 grit that edge back, or 180 or whatever, to where the new material would have something to bite into. Now, I did that on this only because it's the way I was taught, but it doesn't make sense to me. It never has made sense to me, because this is still going to cure for however many days or weeks or whatever. So as it's curing, if I understand right, it's shrinking. If I press that in there while it's still curing and shrinking, you would think that it would still grab a hold of that. I mean, this is like 10 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart. It's not like it's 2 or 3 days away from each other. So maybe I misunderstood that from the guy that taught me how to do this. Maybe he was saying, hey, if you come back the next day, you need to rough that edge up if you're going to lay more filler on it. Maybe that's what he meant. But for me, I went ahead and knocked this down a little bit and then went over those edges real good with 80 grit, so that I could wipe this back in and it'd have hopefully a smooth transition. So you guys let me know what you think about that. I said I don't know if I'm overthinking this or what, but so anyway, I pulled that tape off. I got to go back over this now, so I'll tape this edge up and fill this bottom part, and I'll be done with this for now until I start blocking it out. All right, see you. All right, so this is what I was talking about. Once I've got all this down, I run over that with the DA real quick, just to knock the the lines and stuff down, which you can see there's a little bit left. Now I go to the block. I'm going to block this all down as smooth and flat as I can. You know how it works. Anyway, so, but, like right here, for instance. So I'm going to try to find this line. Well, you can see the line is running down through here, but it's really wobbly now because I've laid filler over this. So you're like, all right, so is this the line, or is this the line, or you know what I mean? So sure, you can take your tape and try to kind of guess, but since I already found the line with the metal, this is just my, just hang with me for a second. I can come back right to that same exact spot that I've already got that line in, pull it out. Now I can run it right, stretch it out a little bit, and run it right back down to there. Okay, now there's no guessing. That's right where it was, stretched out straight. So that should be right where it needs to be. Now I can block up to that side, lay me some tape down, block up to that side, get this line just the way it needs to be. And that was my idea on that, because like I said, if I was just to try to eyeball somewhere, that line may not be straight now at all. It's filler down there, so this gives me that exactly where I was type deal. Alright guys, let's talk about overkill for a second. This is probably it. So I run this straight edge down through there, and I'm looking at my yellow tape, and there's a gap between the straight edge and the tape. So I've got another straight edge up there. I used it, and it's the same deal. So I took some of this, and basically it's just pinstriping, because I don't have any fine line tape right now. I need to go get some, but I put it down there, and you can see, and the red lines up with the straight edge pretty well. And you can see that there's a gap. Now it's not huge, but I would rather it be, right on the money. So I'm gonna pull the yellow tape off and sand up to this one instead of the yellow. Because if I'd have sanded up that yellow, it would have made this a little bit curvy right there, just a little bit. Now you're going to roll that over, it probably isn't going to make a difference, but you know, why not start out with a straight line to start with, you know what I mean, instead of a crooked line. And then you're going to have this, you know, but anyway, maybe it's the way I stretched the tape, or I don't know. I mean, I laid it down easy first, then I stretched it, you know, a little tighter, and either way it was pulling it kind of goofy. So, and maybe it's because this is kind of a rounded shape, maybe it wants to stretch down a certain way because it's not perfectly flat. I don't know, but anyway, something to think about, I guess, when you're laying your stuff out and looking at it, because when you look down the car, you want those lines to be as straight as possible. So any kind of wavy stuff, you're going to see it and it's going to look like crap. So alright guys, I'm going to get to blocking this thing, so I'll see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so I'm pretty much where I want to be with it. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, slick sand's going to fill a little bit of these lows, and that's just, these are tiny, you can barely feel them. You can see they're just little, I mean literally nothing. The line I feel like came out really well, and hopefully that'll show that. I haven't, it's to a point still, so I haven't actually went across it to soften it, and so literally I've left it where, you know, to where it's sharp at this point, so I could show how that come out. And I never know till I upload these what, you know, what's gonna end up showing. So anyway, you can kind of see down through there. There's one little area right here, a little tiny area here. That's obviously a little bit low, but I'm thinking, you know, when I slick sand that, I'm going to soften this and then I'll slick sand. I'll do the exact same thing over the slick sand that I did to this and redefine that line using the same. Alright, so you can see there, maybe, I put one of those lines underneath on both sides. That way I could get that line as perfectly straight as I could get it. And I think it worked out pretty good. So that'll be it for today. Let's see, it's 15 till 7. So this took quite a bit of time. But it feels good, so I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. It's definitely, I mean, if you did this for like 40 years, I'm sure you could knock this out in, you know, a couple hours and be on down the road, but that's not the case with me. I'm not that fast. So, alright guys, well, you guys have a good evening and I'll talk to you later. See you.